Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to sit here and make a little tribute to those Americans who fought and died in Pearl Harbor. Now, a little bit of backstory to this. It was during World War II. The war started in 1939 when Hitler and his Nazis decided they wanted to invade the surrounding countries. Now, fast forward on to December 7th, 1941. Japanese air and naval forces flew into Pearl Harbor, and bombed several of the ships that were stationed there. During this time, this was the largest naval base at the time in Pearl Harbor. All the ships have been docked there, getting ready for training and exercises in case we were to have to go to war. Unfortunately, all the ships that were there were really close together, so it made for great targets for the Japanese Air Force. At the end of the day, all the fighting, there were 2,400 Americans killed during this conflict, during this one day that happened in the morning. There were 5 battleships, 3 destroyers, and 7 other ships that were severely damaged or sunken during this attack. Fortunately for us, 3 of our aircraft carriers were out at sea doing maneuvers, so they were not harmed by this and would later retaliate against the Japanese forces. The next day, once our president, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, heard about this conflict, he stood in front of a joint Congress and he made a speech. That speech later became very famous with a very famous quote, and he said, "This day will live in infamy." And he wanted to put out that we lost a bunch of American soldiers that day, which, other than the Civil War in history, this was the #1 most casualties to Americans on U.S. soil. And he wanted for Congress to declare war so that we could take back what was rightfully ours and so that we could have our revenge on us. Now, this is a very important day in our history, where this is the day that the U.S. got into World War II, and we decided that we wanted to fight against our allies to stop those powers that were against us. And we, every year, remember those soldiers who lost their lives during this terrible attack that happened on December 7th, 1941 at Pearl Harbor.